The Deal Room.
Welcome to another installment of The Deal Room. I'm your host, Darren Mills. To my right, I got my guy, Jose Martinez. Jose, how you feeling this evening?
I feel great. I feel amazing.
We got my guy, Stan the Man. Stan the Golden Stan. What's up, baby? How you feeling?
What's up? How you doing? We're doing good here.
This evening, we're going to jump into AI marketing and how it's taking over the advertising, how it's taking over advertising, sales, and just business growth as a whole. Stan, can you just tell me how you were so ahead of the game and how you already seen where we were going just with the importance of AI and marketing and how we could just, be better as a whole with branding?
See, I thank you for the compliment, but I wouldn't say I was ahead of the game. I'm always a student. I don't ignore anything. I don't think I'm the smartest person in the room. And I think once you get to that point where you think you're the smartest in the room, you actually start becoming dumb. We went to a conference, InvestFest, and there was a young lady called X. She was a software engineer for Google, Microsoft, young lady. And she was with Van Jones. And they were talking about AI. It's like there is no putting the genie back in the bottle. It was, you need this. Do not be the person that doesn't know the tech or you're going to be behind 10 steps. Then she just started talking about what tech could do, what AI could do. Not so much replacement, but in the sense of the speed and the accuracy. Just to think about formatting a project, forget doing the project, formatting, how do you put this piece into that piece, trying to figure it out. And I think the three things that she gave us was 11 Labs, which is very popular if you don't know about it. 11 Labs is big for audio and images. People have technology that they don't even know how to use yet, but they're using for basic stuff. Like, for example, I go away on vacation. I do the auto reply for, I'm going to be gone for a week on a cruise. Your Gmail, write your email and just put an auto reply. You know, that's one of the most advanced FAQs out there besides just the AI before AI really ballooned. Because you could say, what is a DSCR loan? An email, let's say FAQs at Gmail. And the fact that you could teach, just like an autoresponder, like whenever these words are in an email, this should be your reply. So it's not a standard. You could put 100, 200 responses because Gmail would read that email and spit out the response you're looking for. AI backs a lot of our submissions, our processes, everything. And every day we incorporate more and more of it.
You know, one thing that I thought was very interesting because the AI, it records the information, it retains it, and then you can multi-layer it. And it starts to really learn. Like, I know, I can tell you that Jose's ChatGPT almost, I think it knows all of what LendMate and FundRock does. And now as new things come up and we pivot, I know he's talking to it and it's ever layering. And I think it's almost mastered our whole business already. Jose, you want to just tell them a little bit about, I guess kind of the steps or how you learned how to teach the AI?
What you have to understand is that you always have to give it a prompt.
And what I did was, hey, ask me a series of questions so you can learn about me and you can learn about my business. So it just started asking questions. The good thing about it is everyone, we all get lazy after a while reading, but now I asked it to actually do it as a conversation. So you have to, in ChatGPT, I'm going to only talk about ChatGPT right now. In ChatGPT, you can turn on a feature in which it talks to you. And you guys have a conversation back and forth. So it was asking me a question. I would answer it. It would retain it. And then we were just going back and forth. Then it asks about what programs. Tell me about your company. Now ChatGPT also, I think after a couple of upgrades, it's now able to go into the web. So I also told it that, our company website is such and such. It went in the web, learned everything in there, and was able to ask much more accurate questions.
Claude AI, it does the same thing as far as to how to, it can learn for your business, your products, etc. They don't necessarily do the same thing as far as execution.
What we use Claude AI for is a lot of data analysis, understanding reports, pulling reports. It's integrated with Excel. It's integrated with Gmail as well. With ChatGPT, we build more automation in a sense that we build a bot within ChatGPT, still the same thing, asking questions or giving them prompts of what we want the output to be.
He was putting in bank statements, and it was almost like reading out, and it was plucking information from the bank statements that was essential to us funding deals. You were able to create, and it wasn't just like upload your bank statements. Like, I don't even know what you did. What did you do within ChatGPT when you were messing around with the whole bank statement tool before we designed our own? How were you able to go ahead and prompt it to know what information you needed to pull by just uploading a bank statement?
When you're dealing with AIs, one of the biggest things, or one of the obstacles that we had when reading a bank statement, not every bank statement is the same. Right, because you have clients that have Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Chase,
credit unions,
Navy Federal, correct, credit unions, where the layout of the bank statement, right, the information may be the same, right, deposits, debits, etc., but the layout sometimes is different. We now just upload it into our system, and then it spits it out, right? Just like that's why we always say it's the AI that does it, but you have to teach it a prompt. And that's what it's called, a prompt. I use it a lot. Of what I started creating was how to read a credit report. So with the credit report, it's just you have to make sure that whatever it's reading is consistent. So it can't be different credit reports because there might be chances that it may spit incorrect
format of the report.
Format of the report.
Format of the report.
But even just a credit report, right? You know, an Experian credit report from Experian.com is different than a MyScoreIQ.com.
Exactly.
Right. So the format. Let's call it the format. So the format and the layout. So now what I do is whenever I get a my FICO Score IQ credit report, now I know I can just grab. I don't even have to look at it. Just grab it and input it into our system, and it goes right away. Tells me what the credit score is, what program it approves it or declines it, based on the programs that we have. Lets me know if its utilization has to be paid down, how much utilization has to be paid down. And the good thing about it is that we are then able to just copy and paste that report and send it to either the client or the affiliate. Last one that I did was with an accountant, and just copy and paste, send it to him, and he was able to now absorb that information real time, as opposed to, hey, give me a minute, let me go ahead and submit it to my underwriter, then have someone manually review it, then maybe 30 minutes later, give him a call back if he or she is available so they can review it, and then we talk about it. We were able to get it done instantly, and he understood it because we were able to talk about the report real time. And I can answer any questions that he had at the moment.
I know what we do on our side with AI, and I know that as far as marketing, I know Stanley really uses AI for websites and stuff. But Stanley, on the day-to-day on the FundRock side, how do you guys have AI integrated right now into the day-to-day? I guess like hustle and bustle of FundRock, or do you guys have it integrated right now? And if so, what capacity?
We do, but it's heavier on our website.
That's what I thought. Okay.
So Lovable, if you know, is an AI website, AI platform. And you give it, just like ChatGPT, you give it prompts. You have a logo, you upload your logo, what colors, what your business does, your pricing, you put that all in. Then it's going to spit out an image. But then based on your prompts, it will adjust and make the changes for you to make it functional. All of our company's websites are hosted on Lovable. So it's not just design at that point. Because and it's really cost effective, because when you think about it, every time you get a URL or a website, you have to pay another subscription, another fee. Lovable is one flat fee, and you could have multiple websites on that same platform. So economically, it makes sense. The real way to use that and the way we use it, it helps you buy back your time. Now that's only taking a couple hours.
Yeah. It alleviates some of like the little grunt work.
Or busy work, as you love to think, the busy work.
Busy work.
It eliminates the busy work. That's why, like with our HELOC Express, you know how long you have to take out a 1003, a loan application? Yeah. You have to sit there and pull credit. Then you have to send the loan to the title company. Then you have to put title reports. Now we're doing HELOC Express is getting approvals in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If it's an investment property, I'm getting funds in your account in 24 hours, like the MCA. 5 days, only because of compliance with the banking department. Or we'd fund those the same day. We just have to, of course, abide by the laws and licensing. You're not doing that just based on manpower. You can't consistently do that. Now, the volume we're doing, we're still getting approvals in 5 minutes. We're still funding in 24 hours. We're still funding in 5 days, because no matter what, because remember, an AI is tech that infinitely duplicates itself. So at that 1 second, at that one submission, it can handle 100 submissions at that same second.
Yeah.
Process 100 apps that same second. Get approvals same second. So there is no bottleneck of submissions. Like, hold on, I'll get to it when I get to it.
Yeah.
What do you mean? AI is never sleeping. That's the real impact when it comes to FundRock Capital and AI.
Things are pivoting, right? And as far as the MCA industry and anything that is going to be revenue based, I see that a lot of people are building up just a lot of debt with these MCA companies, and they're not able to afford their payments. They're falling behind. A lot of these people are defaulting. At the end of the day, the markets are always shifting. It's always pivoting. So we want to get ahead of the curve. We don't want to get left behind. So with this new sick HELOC Express program, I mean, the majority of business owners that we deal with, almost 9 out of 10 times, that if you own a business, chances are you own a home, right? So we have this the HELOC Express program where if you have a primary residence, and you have a 600, at least a 640 credit score, we know that we're able to go ahead and we can get a HELOC done in at least 5 days. Okay?
Only if you're getting the HELOC for business purposes.
Correct.
This isn't something to pay your consumer credit card. This isn't something to go school shopping for kids. This isn't to use for your vacation. Not even home improvements. This is specifically for business owners. Now, it doesn't have to be someone that currently owns a business. You plan to start a business. You don't have an LLC. You don't have a corp. You don't have an EIN. That's not a problem. But you will sign an attestation saying, I plan to use that money for business purposes. If anything outside of business, we can't get it approved.
That was a disclaimer. Good. I was just going to lead me to it.
And listen, that's something we have to stay compliant. What are you going to say, Jose?
100%. No. Just remember that we are, at the end of the day, we are also in sales. Sales meaning presenting a benefit to the client, but presenting a product, right? We're not pushing anything, just presenting a benefit to the client as far as to other programs that are available. So we make sure that, okay, how can a client benefit from this program, or what program is out there to benefit the client? And that's why the HELOC Express program became so popular, and we were able to speak to business owners to pay off their cash advances, to purchase inventory, to go ahead and maybe buy out a partner, right? Any business purpose, they're able to now use the money. And the reason why is because once someone takes a cash advance, now they're used to, or they get accustomed to speed.
Yep.
Right? Because I can speak to someone and say, hey, Mr. Jones, I can get you a bank loan, but it's going to take 30 to 60 days. What happens there? Oh, that's too slow. You know what? Maybe I don't need the money that bad, etc. So how do we complement, right, a cash advance for as far as speed? Because now that became an expectation from a client is I want to close this quickly. So with the HELOC Express program, I was like, okay, now do you own real estate? I can move as quickly as a cash advance would. Competitive rates, 30-year terms, traditional APRs, where they're as low as the lowest one that I've seen has ranged in low 8s, right? From what I've seen. So they are very competitive when it comes to being able to provide a client money fairly quickly. So if you own a property and there's equity in that property, whether it's an investment property or a primary, you are now able to take the benefit of the equity, but at the same speed as a cash advance. And that's one of the biggest, I would say, one of the biggest factors, as long as there's no issue whatsoever with your deed, right? Because I've had standstills where the client has to go to the town to get a copy of the deed because it wasn't registered correctly, or what didn't pop up in public record, or whatever the API from didn't show that the owner was the owner. Or there was another one instance where it's joint owners. So I needed the other owner to be available so that when they went ahead and signed, the other owner can say, I authorize for my partner to pull equity from the property, right? So there are a lot of benefits, and yes, AI has made this possible, but everything from AI to blockchain technology to APIs That's made all of this possible as far as speed. So now it's another product that a business owner may have to keep growing their business.
Not for nothing, but I don't really like to go ahead and present products that take a long time.
Correct.
Not just like about, the frequency of getting paid. Like, sometimes you can close a cash advance or you can get paid next day. But it's not just the frequency of how we get paid. It's just how long the process takes in general. I don't like having to sit and have to give people updates once a week.
Yeah.
And so it's just not something that I've ever had to do in my many years of being, I guess, in sales. It's easy, and learning the terminology and, the fact that people can get a HELOC and they can get it, even over 30 years is just, with the competitive rates, it's just been easier for me just to be able to, just like you said, present it. And I have to say, I always ask people in the MCA space, like, I've been doing this for 10 years. I always ask them if they own any, land, real estate, or property, but I was never really comfortable in any product to really offer them. I have to be, I just never wanted to go ahead and have to, okay, yeah, how much is your house worth? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we have programs. And then it's just like, we get the docs, and now they're asking me for updates every day, like it's a cash advance, but it's something that's going to take a month or two to go ahead and close. Now this is like, okay, if everything looks good, and this is your primary residence, we can get it done in 5 days. If it's an investment property, 24 to 48 hours? It's a way different conversation than any other product that we've ever had before.
And I think that's why it's becoming very popular in the business lending space, right? The merchant cash advance space. If you for everyone out there that does merchant cash advances, right? You work in all these big shops, which is great. You're used to a quick turnaround time.
Yep.
You're used to not a 1003, which is what a mortgage company would use, right? Multiple pages, etc. You're used to a one page to go ahead and get the client approved, right? That's the application.
That's it. For
us, our intake form is literally, I would say, 3/4 of a page where those are questions, right? Property information, purpose of the capital, information about the borrower or the homeowner or the borrower, credit score, and then at the bottom, the guidelines again, just to make sure that you never go ahead and fall short of what exactly the program guidelines are. Most people in the MCA space, it was never asking that one question. Do you own any real estate?
Yeah.
Why? Because there really is, you would think there's no benefit. I went ahead and did, DSCR loans and everything else. But honestly, for me, they move too slow. Then on top of that, if the appraisal comes back lower, that deal is dead, right? Because it's not what the client expected, or maybe there's a title issue or they have a lien. Now that we have a program that can close quickly, and forget about closing, just give me an answer if it's a deal quickly.
Yep.
Right. And that's what I'd say but that's what we like as far as when at least when I was in the MCA space, that's what I liked, was the fact that I know that I can close a deal quickly. If there's any issues, they come up right away. I don't have to wait 30 days, 2 weeks for an appraisal to come back to figure it out. An AVM is being pulled right away. That gives me the value of the property. Any liens that come up is given to me right away. One thing you do have to make sure you explain to the client is that this is not a cash advance. The ability to be able to have another product that can close at, I would say, within 24 to 48 hours, it's amazing. And because of technology, because of AI, we're able to go ahead and do all of this.
We're praising AI for all of its good, all of its, I guess, great redeeming qualities. But obviously, there's got to be some drawbacks. Can you see any drawbacks right now with AI and how you are currently using it for your business?
Well, there's no clear line, the human element. So, like, for example, we do an AVM, meaning that there's no physical appraisal. No one goes there. We aggregate the data. We pull it in and say, this is what your property's worth. Right now, the great thing is that our appraisal values are higher than physical appraisals. To be transparent, I'm still shocked at the numbers we're coming in with. But the downside is nobody's walking the property. So we don't know what, let's say someone updated their home. Like for example, we had a property that public record still had it as land, but the person had a 3-family home on it. Wow. It's just the humans inside the county didn't update the information and put it on the web, right? Mm-hmm. The AVM will never pick that up. But paying for an appraiser to go to the house and see with their eyes, take pictures, that's where the AI falls short.
The human,
You know what I
that's
mean?
human, like
The
human.
human element.
Yeah.
The human element of when you see a lateness on someone's credit and you're like, oh, you're disqualified. But let's say an FHA loan. Why were you late? What happened? Because it's such an automated system that I can't go, let's call it ChatGPT FundRock for a second, right? Hold on. Don't deny this file. I have the document. I need your review. No, it's this job isn't that.
And you know what? That was one of the biggest things that Jose always says when it comes to, anything automated or any kind of these services. It's a yes or a no. It's if this, then that. There's no gray area. There's no mitigating factors. What you're saying with the human, there's no mitigating factors. There's no gray area when you're dealing with AI. It's if this, then that, and it's really cut and dry. There's no crying about it. It is what it is. There are no reps. You know what I'm saying? You submit to a portal. They review the statements. You can't call. You can't tell a story. There is none of that. It's just approved, denied, funded, denied. That's it. They do give some cleaner approvals sometimes, so it's a means to an end. But if every lender in our industry was like Biddy, and you just have to submit, forget, and just like figure it out, I don't know if I don't know how I'd make the money that I do today.
But I think it's more. It's almost like, it's funny. I welcome technology more on the sales side, right? Because the reason I say that is because the lazy people are not going to make money, because they're going to have like the automated voicemail, the automated this, and they're never going to schmooze the client. When every phone call is, oh, just submit, press 1, upload your app, that's it, and there's no human element.
Yeah.
People, trust me, there's going to be this generation that's like, oh, this AI everything. You have to know all the time bombs and how someone will kill your deal, because the moment you know how to kill your deal, you'll know how to save it.
Facts.
That's the number one thing. And then that's when the story goes in. So when it goes to underwriter, I already have my letter of explanation. I have my document to back it. The human element is great because it has feelings, emotions, and beliefs. Like, someone has to believe it. No matter how good Daryl could sound on the floor, like, yo, he sounds great. If he can't convey that confidence in what he's saying and believe it, that underwriter is not going to sign off. So voice inflection is important. The pause, even certain times when you shut up, it's not always what you're saying. It's when you shut up and pause that's important. AI is not going to do that, especially when the other person on the other sideline knows it's AI.
Yeah.
They're going to go, you're trained to say this, versus believing it.
Yeah, you're right. It's understanding the story.
Now I'm telling you, I'm going to have you approved faster than it takes to pop a bag of popcorn, right? Then I'm telling you, I don't need to see how you're going to pay the loan. I'm not asking for income docs. On the investment rentals, I'm not even asking for the lease. Then within seconds, I'm telling you what I think the property's worth. And that's what my loan's going to be approved. You just have to sign it. That's scary when someone sees that number, because now they're looking at $100,000, $200,000, $500,000 approval. And only thing you did was take the app.
Why do you think there's so many people that unfortunately submit altered bank statements? I've seen altered bank statements a couple of times this week. And it's because they have a PDF editor that can change the numbers. And then as soon as it comes to, hey, you know what, we're going to have to link into your account. Oh, no, privacy issues. I've been hacked, this, that, and the third. Or the client that says, oh, I don't know my credit score. What do my credit score? Listen, if you don't know your credit score, you have bad credit. Because who doesn't know their credit score if it's a 700 score? Because you're always looking at it to make sure that no one's dinged your credit or your credit score hasn't dropped. Third-party companies that use integration to be able to pull a report of your bank account. So it basically extracts the information. Now, if you have a client that says, hey, I don't want to do it because they're scared or they're hesitant because they think that they're going to empty out their bank account, remember that Plaid, all it does is pulls a report. Now, I don't know if it deposits money to your account, right? So if you are using Plaid to verify so money can go into your account, I don't know that. So I don't want to say that it doesn't do that. I don't believe it does, but it does extract the information. It just pulls a report. And if you have a big problem with using Plaid, right, put your information in, make sure that it says completed, and then change the password. They cannot access it. I don't think that there's any other way for someone to go ahead into your account and pull the money from it. So and I say that because, yes, integrating any bank account in out there right now, from an email, from someone that you may not have just spoken to right now, it can be alarming. I get it. But just understand, or do your due diligence on it. Plaid, Decision Logic, those are companies that all they do is just verify the information, extract the data, and give it to the underwriter so they don't have to manually look at your bank statements. I think that they pull 3 months. They have the ability to pull 3 months all the way up to 6 months. Mm-hmm. Okay? So just want to clear that up.
And make sure you guys make sure it's Plaid, like PLAID, and you're not getting some random Gmail that says PLAD@gmail.com and you start linking your account and stuff. Because then for sure you guys are definitely going to get scammed out there.
But it's also, it comes down to the rep, right? Comfortability. That's why I said the human element.
Human element of it.
So if a client calls, hold on, do you know what Plaid is? It's a multi-billion-dollar company. That technology, you might not see the word, but it's logged into 90% of the banks in the world.
Yep.
You might see Chase, but Plaid's behind it.
Yeah.
If you see, depending on the internet platform.
Yeah.
And just for example, because I'm always into tech and all other stuff, Elon Musk wanted people to sign in to the satellite so they could use their phone and Wi-Fi on a plane, but he wanted them to sign on the Starlink page. Delta was saying they can sign in, but that front-facing page needs to be Delta Airlines. He's like, I want them to see my brand. You're the mechanism in the background, but this is how it runs off my platform. So that's why I also explain to clients, the company might not be, even when you're signing to Chase, Wells Fargo, or the big boys, that's just the brand you see there. The technology is a Plaid technology. That technology is another third-party technology. They do banking. They don't do tech. You know what I mean? So understand something. You have to know the product too. If you're on here and a broker, one of our affiliates, and you sell this product, education is key. I don't know anyone that could sell something that in passion makes someone believe it if they haven't done the homework. You have to know the process. You have to know, okay, when it submits, they're going to get approval in 5 minutes. I need to know these 7 questions. I need to know, what are you using the money for? How quick do you need it? That's a major wall that you could use to stand on, because the speed of capital you can't match. Even if you're going with an MCA, that still has to go to an underwriter. Besides Biddy, that I didn't know is all tech-based.
Yep.
That's not happening as quick as, boom, you get an email. All of a sudden, you link your account. You do what you have to do. E-notary. Funds in your account the next day.
Yep.
There's no human slowing down the process.
One thing I always suggest to everyone is send them the link. Send them a link of the article. Send them the link for the profile. Because just like Plaid, Decision Logic, a lot of these big companies use it, right, as they should, because of the technology piece. Don't make the client search for the information. Give them the information, which they can verify themselves. They go in, they read the article, perfect. Give them the website, perfect. You can also see on there, I'm sure you can go online and see, how do big banks use a Decision Logic? How do big banks use Plaid? Plaid is the popular one that everyone uses. Yes, on the merchant cash advance side, of the business lending side, Decision Logic is another one that's used a lot. But Plaid, just look it up, give them the information. They'll be able to see it. They should be already familiar with the logo. It looks like a hashtag, right? A cited hashtag. But it looks but just make sure you educate the client. Daryl, let's take us away.
All right, Jose. Listen.
One thing on
No.
The last one. Let me land the plane. Just quickly, it's the one thing everybody uses now is DocuSign. Remember, we were used to pen and paper. Now a couple clicks, that holds up in court. That's just technology. Everyone's going to catch up to it. That's part of the system. And you just learn and go with it. Final thoughts, Daryl.
No, you start final thoughts, Stanley. Come on. Take us out of here, Stan. Take us out. Oh,
Final. We have these conversations about AI, right? And I always think about when I was a kid. One of the biggest movies that come out was Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and how the robots and AI were controlling humans and running our world and treating us like slaves, like we were their pets, right? That was the movie. that everybody just was like, yo, or it was RoboCop. It was, listen, we have to keep a leash on tech or tech is going to run us, right? Do we know if it's still going to happen in the future? We don't. But what we do know is that we can learn from it, is that you could take that technology and be forefront when anything happens. That's not an excuse not to learn it. So if AI is going to be incorporated in my life, you better believe I'm going to learn every aspect of it. Just like Facebook. Facebook started from Mark Zuckerberg making pretty much a website yearbook that connected friends, now to a point where people make living on social media because of Facebook. Think about that for a second. Businesses start, someone in their kitchen could start with an Instagram reel or a TikTok and become a millionaire and all of a sudden a celebrity chef with nothing but a pot and pan cooking in their kitchen. That's the same thing with AI. It depends how you use it. And the quicker you understand it, the quicker you'll be able to capitalize on it. So I leave you with this. AI could be your best friend or it could be a crutch. I advise everyone, speed, love, success. To be successful, be speedy in learning AI so you could automate your busy work and then use it and monetize on it. That's my final thought.
Wow. I like that. Wow.
Wow,
I'll make mine quick.
That was great.
All right. So just like as everyone can go ahead and notice, we get very passionate about AI, but it's because we do it on a day-to-day and because it has really shaped our company in a positive way, right? Where we're able to compete with the bigger companies, the companies that, that are getting seed capital. They're getting money to go ahead and, they have big investors behind them. Right. So learn how AI, any program, something is, take a couple of minutes out of your day because it can either replace your productivity in a good way or you can be replaced. Right. Mm-hmm. If you work at a company, learn how to go ahead and use AI because AI, and next week, we're going to talk about marketing in AI, it allows you to now get more clients. If you're someone that is tired of being on the phone, smiling and down, learn how to use AI to market yourself, right? Whether it's social media, whether it's ChatGPT, use it because everyone else is. The bigger companies are using it. Big companies are now making commercials using AI.
Yep.
Right? 11 Labs was another one that Stanley mentioned earlier today. It's been around for a while. If it's new to you, that's a problem. Please look it up. Look up Google top AIs that I can use in my for my company, right? Because at the end of the day, even if you're a sales representative, it's still your company.
Correct.
Yeah. So definitely take the time to look up what AIs are out there, what the benefit of each AI is, and how it can go ahead and help you scale your business. And stay tuned for next week when we start talking about marketing. That's going to be very exciting.
Yep.
Lucas definitely has to replace me for that episode. All right. Let me. Good stuff, Jose. I'll take us out of here, ladies and gentlemen. AI didn't replace creativity; it exposed lazy creativity. Okay. There's a difference between these two guys that are experiencing AI and whatever kind of marketing, whatever that they can procure with AI. Very different than me, who's a novice with AI, whatever my marketing would look like. Okay, if you're lazy in life, you're gonna be lazy with AI. You're lazy with anything. However, if you're a creative person, naturally, like Stanley said, if you keep learning about AI, you're gonna be able to get your whatever AI source that you're using. If you're a creative person and you're knowledgeable, you can't just pick up AI and be good at it, right? There's levels. There's levels to this. There's levels to everything. If you're lazy in general, your AI is going to be lazy. Again, it's a tool that we're supposed to use to empower us, to empower what we're doing. It can't just be your business. It can't just do the work for you. You still have to put in some level of work. And I do want to leave you guys with this. The future belongs to businesses that create attention on a daily basis. Whoever's going to stay in front of the clients the most, whoever's going to be able to provide the information to them in a nice, colorful way, whoever's going to be able to make it, keeping it very simple and keeping it very basic and not overdoing it. Those businesses are going to be, the most successful. And just like Jose said, and then Radical, you can go ahead and cue us up. Ladies and gentlemen, AI, it's not just the future, it's here. I remember one of the first movies that I, pretty much watched that I was intrigued by AI and where the future tended to was iRobot. If you guys remember, iRobot was that movie with Will Smith in which everybody had a robot in their house and then ended up trying to, take over the world. People were very apprehensive about it. And I remember saying, oh shit, this is probably going to be far into the future. And now people have Tesla robots. Tesla robots are now like on order. And some people are going to start having Tesla robots in their homes. So that future that we thought was like so distant in like the early 2000s, well, that shit is here. And if you don't get with it, you are going to get lost. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, your host Darryl Mills, got Jose Martinez, and I got Stanley Julian to my left. Thank you guys for tuning in. See you next week.
The Deal Room by Brokers Connection.